What if I told you that a 20-year-old became wealthier than ever after giving away $500,000? Not more wealthy. Richer in something that the largest companies in the world spend billions attempting to imitate. The craziest aspect is that she didn't intend for it to be a move. She didn't contact a public relations firm. She simply did it. And since then, the tennis world has changed. It was never intended for Alexandra Eala to be here. Take a moment to consider that. There is no Grand Slam history in the Philippines. There would be no WTA dynasty and no plan to develop a top-tier female tennis player. Before this girl had picked up a racket, every single factor was working against her. Tradition, geography, and resources all pointed away from her current state. Nevertheless, she was already a Globe Telecom brand ambassador at the age of 8. Not due to awards, not due to rankings. Even the executives who signed her were unable to adequately describe what they'd seen. They simply realized that what they were witnessing was unusual. Something uncommon. Spreadsheets don't display that kind of information. Either you sense it or you don't. They sensed it as well. When Alex was 13, he packed one suitcase and took a plane to Manacor, Spain, to train at the Rafa Nadal Academy, one of the world's most challenging tennis facilities. She entered a room full of children from well-known tennis families in nations with actual tennis infrastructure and systems designed to create champions. With a bag and the burden of a country on her shoulders, she entered. And she didn't even flinch. She won a Junior Australian Open Doubles Championship by 2020. She became the first Filipino to ever win the U.S. Open Junior Singles Championship in 2022. She was recognized by the Academy as someone who, despite years of demanding training, never once complained. Nothing, not her family. This is the problem with junior titles, though. The expert tour doesn't give a damn. The currency used in the WTA is entirely different. Players far more anticipated than Alex have been engulfed by ranking points, prizes, money, survival, and the difference between a juvenile prodigy and a professional force. She declined to serve as a warning. In 2023 and 2024, she competed in ITF circuit events that are largely unknown to tennis enthusiasts. Building her game point by point, match by match, small cities, lengthy travels, and little prize money. She was ranked 143rd in the world at the end of 2024, strong and promising, but the sport has previously seen potential. Miami followed. The WTA 1000 Miami Open, one of the largest competitions outside of the Grand Slams, will take place in March 2025. Alex used a wild card to get in. Are you aware of what that implies? It indicates that you weren't ranked highly enough to enter through the front entrance. Usually, wild cards lose in the first round. If they are fortunate, they might win in the second. She received a terrible draw. There was fierce rivalry. After that, she just began to succeed. She defeated Madison Keys, who was ranked 5th in the world at the time, and Jelena Ostapenko. She then defeated Iga Swiatek in a match that sent shockwaves over the internet from Manila to Madrid. Ranked 2nd in the world and a 5-time Grand Slam champion. That night, the Philippines was awake. She became the first Filipino in history to advance to the semifinals of a WTA 1000 event. And her position, which in only 1 week increased from 143 to 75. One event, 68 spots. Every stroke was observed by Rafael's uncle, Tony Nadal, who led Rafa to 14 Grand Slams and served as the first director of the academy where Alex trained. He delivered a measured but impactful verdict. He claimed that she confronted Swiatek and refused to back down. That she might be among the greatest in the world once she masters her craft. The entire globe had taken note. However, what Alex was truly carrying inside was still unknown to the outside world. Let's fast forward to late 2025. In Guadalajara, Mexico, she had previously achieved another first for the Philippines by winning her first WTA 125 title. She debuted in the main draw of the French Open. She was the first Filipino player to win a Grand Slam singles match at the U.S. Open. She reached a career-high ranking of 50 in the world at the end of the year. In a year, she had dropped from 143 to 50. Then came the time when everything came to an end. Alex won $500,000 in prize money at a WTA event where she played at the pinnacle of her career, persevering through 3 rounds against opponents with better rankings and displaying some of her best tennis. Give that a moment to land. $500K. To put things in perspective, her total career earnings before to Miami were approximately $498,000. All of the money she had made in her career was almost doubled by this one check. That figure wasn't simply significant for a 20-year-old from a nation where the median household income is approximately $5,000 annually. It changed my life. It served as evidence. Evidence of all the early mornings, missed birthdays, coach flights her family struggled to pay for, and late-night Spanish court sessions. While everyone else was fast asleep. It only took her 24 hours. She then issued a statement. No photographer positioned just behind her. No press conference. There isn't a multi-day announcement meant to prolong the drama, just a clear, concise message. She was donating the entire $500,000 to the tournament's charitable foundation, which aims to increase junior tennis access in Latin American and Southeast Asian disadvantaged areas. Her words were straightforward. She continued, every junior player who couldn't afford a flight to a qualifying tournament, every girl who was told tennis wasn't meant for someone like her, this was for them. She stated she could still clearly recall the price of holding onto a belief when no one else was supporting it. The world of tennis froze. Presenter of Sky Sports in terms of pure fan fascination and worldwide appeal, Gigi Salmon had just called Alex possibly the biggest star in world tennis right now. However, this was not charisma. This was not a really memorable moment. This personality was functioning at a level that most professional athletes and most people never attained during their lifetimes. Social media exploded rather than merely responding. Within 6 hours, the hashtag associated with her announcement became popular in 17 different nations. Not tennis nations, but every nation. Teachers, aid workers, youth coaches, politicians, and those who had never watched a tennis match in their lives all left comments. Indeed, some really nothing monetarily. Without much fuss, practiced in silence, and conducted interviews with a candor that was almost shocking for someone with her level of skill. In the background, there was also an odd, unsettling irony. Social media was inundated with entirely made-up news about Alex throughout 2025, including a fictitious $45 million Wilson contract, a fictitious $10 million charity donation for children, and a non-existent Emirates Airlines connection. Fictitious accounts of her generosity have been refuted by fact-checkers for the entire year. Here was the genuine deal. Silent, precise, and devoid of any production value. Just the money returned with a justification that didn't require extravagance. After exposing the fakes for months, fact-checkers were now rushing to confirm the real one. Anyone who was paying attention could see the irony. Her sponsors took note. They did, of course. Globe Telecom Bank of the Philippines, Nike, and Baba. For the first 24 hours, none of them spoke. Then they weren't. 3 of her current sponsors made statements, not the careful, lawyer-approved corporate kind, within 72 hours. Strong ones. After releasing a limited edition jersey created by Filipino artist Georgina Camus and giving her a personalized hair tie for Wimbledon in 2019, Nike announced a reorganized partnership. The figures showed a 3-fold increase over her prior yearly commitment. The company that signed 8-year-old Alex before the tennis community even knew her name, Globe Telecom, extended their collaboration by using language that clearly linked her choice to the principles they had recognized in her as a young girl. A third significant global brand quickly adapted to what was now widely recognized as a once-in-a-generation cultural phenomenon. Values alignment is a word used in sports marketing. The moment when what an athlete performs resonates more profoundly than anything they've ever won. Almost nobody has witnessed such a thing outside of an Olympic setting. The lack of the typical architecture was what set it apart from the typical celebrity charity cycle. No documentary crew following her to the recipient site, no foundation launch. There isn't a co-branded announcement that coincides with a product launch. All that was lost was the money and a statement that didn't require any of that. Sponsors have the same understanding of authenticity as viewers. What Alex gave away in prize money, she instinctively, instantly, and permanently recovered in something that no sponsorship budget in the world could produce. Genuine moral authority. The criticism persisted. Serious voices persisted in questioning whether individual deeds of kindness absolved dysfunctional systems. Whether Alex's praise unfairly forced sportsmen from developing countries to make sacrifices in addition to their sporting prowess. Whether institutional reform should have been the topic of discussion instead of her decision. These were crucial and honest questions, And Alex, as always, didn't shy away from them. She directly admitted it in a follow-up piece. She claimed that this doesn't solve the system, that it's just one individual making one decision, and that while the structure needs to change, she wanted to do what she could within it. More criticism was stopped by just one paragraph than by any press conference. Remove everything else. Remove the debate columns, the counterarguments, the sponsor announcements, and the popular hashtags. This is what you are left with. A 20-year-old Filipino woman spent years competing in events that the majority of tennis fans never saw, learnt the game on borrowed courts, and created something remarkable out of basically nothing. Her career earnings prior to Miami 2025 totaled about $498,000 after years of hard work. In just 2 weeks, her run in Miami almost doubled that. Another chapter was added by the Guadalajara title. She demonstrated that Miami wasn't an anomaly by finishing the year ranked 50. It served as a base. According to Gigi Salmon, her ability to draw large crowds already surpasses that of players who are ranked decades higher. She could compete among the world's best, according to Tony Nadal. After reviewing her skills, Roger Federer's longtime coach was impressed. Her 2025 season was a breakout, according to the WTA's own description, which may be the understatement of the year. Her career path has been likened to that of Emma Raducanu, whose 2021 U.S. Open victory resulted in a contract portfolio valued at tens of millions. The distinction is that, as opposed to a single explosion, Alex's climb is being developed over a number of events that are consistently maintained over the course of a complete season. Her economic value was not created by the sponsor tripling that occurred after her prize return. It simply demonstrated the depth of that value. This is the question that keeps coming up. For an athlete who defines success differently from the traditional framework of athletics, what does success actually look like? Tennis rankings, Grand Slam victories, and career prize money are used to gauge success. All three are presently being accumulated by Alex. However, it wasn't a ranking milestone that caused the world to stop. It was not a title. It was the time she decided to deduct. The moment she offered rather than held. And a 12-year-old girl who previously couldn't afford tournament travel is already enrolling for her first professional qualifying event someplace in Southeast Asia as part of a junior development program supported by her choice. It's not a headline. That's the tale. Alexandra Eala was ranked 143 going into 2025. At 50, she left it. She repeatedly made history. At the most critical financial point of her career, she donated $500,000. And in doing so, she became something the sport had never seen before, tripled her economic value, and solidified her legacy. Whether she has what it takes to succeed is no longer the question. She's demonstrated that already. This is the actual question. Can Alexandra Eala truly fit into the entrenched hierarchies, reward structures, and politics of professional tennis? Please enter your response below. We've only just begun that discussion. And if you believe that athletes like Alex should be given the attention that is typically given to those who have already won, you know what to do.